Can you make me do that every single time? Where's my phone? It's currently 4 a.m. Shit. Sorry? Hang on, hang on. I'm hanging on, game. I'm hanging on. Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you've booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that setup seriously. They just leave the clock at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want. Even if it's not the correct time, you've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. Okay. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I'm very confused already and I wasn't prepared to record yet.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Do I skip this? I'll skip this. I don't need to hear this intro again. I can play the game. Welcome back. Quit the game and then start it again. Hi. Welcome back to perhaps the weirdest game I've ever seen. Am I shorter than I was before?
What could it mean?
Okay.
Stanley decided to go to the
Let's go through the general gist of waltzing around and doing the thing. I'm going to turn down the narrator for myself. But basically, we're going to do what he says, but not exactly. Basically what he says, but not 100%. The game's very confusing. I need to take this game very seriously because the game deserves some respect. Especially after that weird intro I just had there. I set the time, because I asked last time what the time was. Okay, here, here's my first disappearance from the path. I'm headed downstairs, as downstairs is the way to go, right? Let's head into the weird room with a car in it. Oh, it's the car park.
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it.
He considered the possibility of facing his boss.
Oh God, I hate my boss.
Left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Of course.
All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Oh, I definitely am crazy.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
That could just happen.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? What? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
You're right, they are.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last,
how's the game timed up so well?
That had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for
it. It's a video game.
I'm dreaming.
Oh, of course.
This is all a dream.
It's all a dream.
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone.
Everyone's just chilling.
He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon.
Yeah, it's just a dream.
Back to my boring real-life job pushing
buttons. Not that bad.
I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Why don't I have feet?
So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh, that's lovely. Whoa!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun. And
this is
Stanley
amazing.
marveled that he had still not woken up.
This is a great dream.
How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Why hadn't I asked sooner?
Is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? believing that
No.
if he's asleep,
It
he
must be a
doesn't have
dream.
to take responsibility for himself.
It's so like
Stanley is as awake
self-aware.
right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to
It-
Stanley. After
this
all,
game's like in my
he knew for
brain.
certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Yeah.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove
Okay.
that he was in
How do I
control.
prove I'm in control?
That this was a dream.
I'm gonna strip
So
naked
he
in my
closed
own
his
dream.
eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want.
It's so peaceful.
I want my apartment, and my
My
wife,
wife
and my
and
job.
my job.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
I'm Stanley.
Everything will be fine.
It's all gonna be okay.
I am okay.
Okay. This is a shit dream. Hello?
Stanley began screaming.
Ah!
Someone, wake me up.
No!
My name is Stanley.
Stanley!
I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please,
My dreams.
just someone
No,
tell me
they're
I am
bleeding.
real. I must
My
be
dreams are
real. I
bleeding.
must be. Can anyone
No!
hear my voice? Who am I? Who
Stanley!
am I?
Stanley!
And everything went black.
Stanley died.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Mariella?
She rose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
Stanley?
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself,
Stanley!
and then
My
collapsed
boy!
dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
I don't.
It was comforting to think this.
This
And in
game.
a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
Start
Then
Stanley's
she
beautiful.
remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day.
Ah,
the
I
very
have
important people
work.
whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
This game's so existential. It's... There's multiple... The end is never the end. The end is I didn't pay attention to those loading screens beforehand, but those loading screens are always saying things. This game is inside your head. The game knows. It knows everything, and it's really interesting. It's playing me like a fiddle, like a clarinet, like an oboe at a goddamn orchestra. It is orchestrating me like a machine. This game knows everything. Can I play on my computer? Boop, 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 boop. I'm working hard. I guess I'll get back to work then.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
How
be?
many endings are there in this
Stanley
game?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he
What
had
else
something
can the
to dilemma.
game do? What does it have? What does it have to offer? Right? Because it can't be too
Stanley
much.
came to a set of two open doors. He entered the
You know
door on
what?
his left.
You know what I recall? From the first ending that I had where I escaped the mind control facility, there was an escape area written
Yet
in
there was not a
red
single
Sharpie on the
person here
wall.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided
I
to
guess
go
I'll head
up
over
to his
there
boss's
and see if I can
office.
actually
Maybe he
escape.
might find an
Whoa.
answer there.
The broom
Stanley
closet's
stepped
still
into
here?
the broom closet, but there was nothing.
But there
there,
was nothing
so
there.
He turned around and got back.
Apologies.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs.
Do you think if I stood inside the broom closet, it would... But there was not... Then he turned... Because now I'm like all... Oh, I just want to do what he says. Like, I want to do the opposite of what he says. I'm so, like... Against it. Executive bathroom. Oh my god. Let me in. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then what has the boss chose? Extreme bathrooms. Time magazine. Potty magazine. Another thing I have that I find weird about this game is whenever I click or like touch my buttons on my keyboard, like that isn't WASD, yeah, you can't jump. No, seriously, we disabled it. That's so weird. Whenever you touch buttons like that, the game, like, it makes a sound of me pushing buttons.
Stanley was once again stunned to
Which brings me to believe
of any human life.
that maybe I'm just sitting at my chair at work still? Stanley is, maybe not me. Maybe I am. Am I Stanley?
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible.
Let me quickly type in these codes.
And so the boss had assigned it
a very secret pin number. So secret. 2845.
But of course,
is this the same as last time?
By simply pushing random buttons on the keypad.
Is there like a specific code that would do something really cool? Open doors. Hello. I already said this, but it's like the Truman Show. It's very interesting. Hello? Huh. There's so many options. That's the thing. I bet you there's an idea. There's like something you can do, I bet you, for every single option in this game. This is the kind of game where it's like if I stood AFK, like if I went to get like a drink of water and I sat there, I bet you the game would talk to you. It would talk about it.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Huh.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now?
I've already done this part. I don't need to be here.
It had never occurred to him.
Blah, 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 blah. I am going to escape. Whoa, what the hell? Was that things? Whenever something happens and I don't recall it,
large door that read
it scares
Mind
me.
Control Facility.
Well, in reality, I think we're going to escape. We're out of here. We're getting out.
Although this passageway had the word
escape written on it,
the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
You sure?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I'm a man of commitment. Stanley commits to things. Have you seen his wife? Exactly.
Point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
I don't know that. I can't hear you. Stanley is tone deaf to the story. This looks like death. Do I just die? The end is never the end. Oh. Whoa! No fall damage? Oh, okay. Whoa, what's this? I'm locked in.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
Can I get out?
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss.
This is like a fourth-dimensional being.
Blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
Is it just gonna crush it?
Farewell, Stanley.
I don't want to be like that. Farewell, Stanley. No, please. No, narrator, please. It's like a fourth-dimensional being. Oh.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oh, I'm fine. Okay. There's a narrator for the narrator. The Stanley Power. What?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
I don't... Where am I? This is Superliminal again. I'm playing Superliminal.
Every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance. Death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
The office? The two doors? Oh my god, this is the building. Corridor. Wait, does it say? The pacing of this opening section was very important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the 2 doors in a good time. Ah. Office layout. This blueprint shows the office from beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the 2 doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development through the core layout, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. That's my office. I work there. Stanley's computer. Tick, tick, tick. What the? It's like a... Credits? Wait. This is... Office computers? Solitaire? Employee database? This is like... So... This is the actual team that worked on it. Oh my god. Jesus worked on it. Oh my god! What? Button sounds. A selection of the sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. What? It's a museum for Stanley. The office. Where's the narrator? Maintenance room? I haven't seen this place. Maintenance room. What? A photocopier? Oh my god. A staircase? This place is immaculate. Warzone? What the hell kind of ending is this? Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up in a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting the build that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. What do you mean on the nose? Plus, some people interpret it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Is that genuine or not? Is that genuine or is that just made up? Ultra deluxe announcements. It's money. What? Oh. From James Irvine. Subject, how's the games? How's the games going? I hope it's as good as... Oh, and or better. Are you a rock? Narrator emails. After the second trailer, we sent out and asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these for further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. So here is a section of those emails. There's just... Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. This game's insane. The apartment timer. Wait, it's ticking down. 3, 2, 1. In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer will give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. I don't know what the apartment ending is. I don't know how... This is even more insane. The fact that the game is showing me stuff that I haven't seen yet. Because the game is... confident. Oh my god, it's like a zoo. Stanley's office. It's like an exhibition. We're like the Royal Art Institute. I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, so this is Stanley's parable. Is this the thing I just got crushed on? No, what is this? Oh, monitor room elevator. Oh. Wow. Countdown desk. Exit. Exit. Exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
The Stanley parable. I could be free. Just by turning that off.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
I do. I see it now.
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things
No,
cannot
I'm lying,
be
apparently.
seen.
Oh.
But listen
Oh,
to
wait a
me.
minute.
You can still save these two.
Please.
You can stop the
No.
program before they
Me.
both fail.
And she's talking to
Push
me, the
escape and
player.
Press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
What?
Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't...
I did it. I paused the game. Do I unpause it? No. Oh my god, what do I do? This is so... Ah! Stanley! I didn't Stanley! I could have saved him. Would it have actually... If I actually closed the... The end is never the end. If I actually closed the game... everything would go back to normal nonetheless. I think that's the point. I'm gonna end this here. As much of an experience as is, this game has a lot to it. I might dip in here and there, but I'm just eternally confused by it. Because it doesn't... No, it's not that it doesn't make sense. In fact, it makes too much sense. Of itself. On the nose, game, you joke. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Again, I might play some more, but whatever. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!